Mm. Why do we embrace the struggle? Why do we embrace the struggle? It's easy. Struggling is easy. You know? Don't change the oil in your vehicle. It's gonna mess up. It's easy. Don't change the oil in it. It's gonna mess up though, believe that. The struggle, it is a thing that makes us feel prideful. It feels good to see you from the hood or you from a tough area, you know, but that mentality, it doesn't lead to anything, you know. It's a cycle type of thing, you know. And at one point I embraced the struggle, you know. I embraced it. It was cool to see where I was from. And once I realized it wasn't doing nothing for me or pushing myself forward, I'm like, what do it matter where I'm from if it ain't paying none of my bills, it's taking money from me. And then, you screaming these neighborhoods names. Oh, I'm from Thompson Hill. That's somebody's last name. Don't know who Thompson is. That's somebody else's last name I'm screaming out. Or I'm from Brown's Village. That's somebody's name I'm screaming out. The struggle will confuse you. And like I said, it's just that toxic part of it. It can excite people. It's easy. It's so easy to struggle, and that's why people stick with it, because it's easy. It takes work to be somebody. But like I said, don't change the oil in your car. That's easy to do. You won't be riding. You're going to be walking around, living a low level of life. Struggling. Don't wash your butt. You know what I mean? That's easy. You're going to stink. Life will stink. So, before you think about continuing your embracement, those who do, embracement of the struggle, really think about it being another side that can totally change your life, from hanging around people that's making serious money, from listening to audio books of people talking about making millions in a day, and it really just comes down to how you were raised. Well, really not how you was raised, but I guess it's just thinking patterns. I don't know. It is a complicated topic. It is, because people got so many different perspectives on it. But it's definitely a cycle that people love to embrace. When I was coming up, the struggle was so toxic that family that had money, wanted to be a part of the struggle. That's how strong, negativity is. How is it you got a whole fat house, you got a whole big crib, and you don't want to be there? You want to be in a neighborhood where we less fortunate? Because the struggle is full of drama. Sitting in a big house with a backyard, and it's boring. There's nothing out there. There's nothing to do. You know what I mean? The struggle. It's easy to maintain that lifestyle. It's easy for somebody to, live getting state benefits, because it's just a handout. I can accept that. But it takes a fight to build a life making bunches of money and not getting help from, you know, a certain a program or something like that, you know. Don't stand the struggle. Don't accept the struggle. The struggle is not you. You should not embrace the struggle. And on another topic of struggling, I used to do it when I was younger. Why brag about working 50, 60 hours a week? That's not nothing to brag about. That is not a badge of honor, working 50, 60 hours a week. It shouldn't take that much to make money. It shouldn't. That's something that we got. That's how we was conditioned though. Oh, I gotta work all these hours to get. You should not have to. But you gotta learn to think correctly. You come home tired, this and that. You can't even play with the family, with your lady. Nothing. You can't do nothing with the family. You gotta wait till the weekend. You know? The struggle, man. It is complicated. Because it is something to embrace and should be a part of your story. Because you got to remember where you came from. But at a certain point, you got to let it go and say that's just part of my story. It's time to move on to a life-changing, you know, things that can change my life. You know? Because if you maintain that mentality, oh, I'm from the hood, I'm from the struggle, I'm from this, it's going to be hard for you to grow. It's going to be hard for you to grow. You're not going to want to learn nothing new. You're not going to want to open a book. Because you're going to say, oh, we ain't learned that way in the hood. We just threw our hands. We just, you know, we went straight at it. You know? But it's a difference when you start hanging around a certain crew or some people that are educated. It's a difference when you start hanging around people that know things. You know, when they show you a different level of life and you getting exposure to, you know, just scenery. The struggle is not, it is not something that, you know, you don't want to maintain a lifestyle of being in the struggle and bragging about it. Because then you're going to raise your kids in the struggle. There's nothing to brag about. Oh, we came up off food stamps. Oh, man, yeah. Nah, we was in the hood our whole lives. We passed this apartment down from grandma. I love you too, auntie. I love you. Glad you're watching. I'm just on here getting my thoughts away. You know. Love you. This struggle thing with our people mainly as well. You know, everybody's struggling. You know, us Caucasians, Asians over in their country somewhere, you know, Africa, people struggling everywhere. But it's certain people that want to get away from that lifestyle. You know, I seen a story about a guy in Africa. I think he was I forgot it. I don't even know his name. But he was struggling. You know, he wanted to come to America so bad that he did so many different things. He really wanted to get away from the struggle. But you got people reversing that. You got people with money. With money wanting to... You even see it in rappers. These guys got money and still want to portray that they in the hood. How you got you a multi-millionaire artist. You got diamond chains on. You got your kids. And you still want to be sitting back in the hood. It's just... The negativity is so strong nowadays. And I really think it comes from the news. And I got this perspective from a podcast that I watched earlier. The news is so toxic because when you watching the news, nothing is positive. Nothing is good. Nothing is good when you watching the news. It's always negative, negative, negative. And it's a bunch of things that you can't control. So not only are you worrying about what's going on outside and around you, you can't even fight your own problems because you're worrying about what's going on over here. Now you're worrying about problems that's going on over in Iran and all this, and you can't control that. But you stressing about it. If you want to watch the news, I say just watch the news for the weather. Watch the news to figure out what the weather going to be, and don't watch the news no more. Because you ain't got nothing to do with Iran. You ain't got nothing to do with tariffs. You ain't got nothing to do with gas prices. Because the gas prices is going to be what the gas prices are going to be. Plain and simple. You can't control that. But we stuck watching the news and what's going on in these different countries. You know? The struggle is real. And staying at the bottom is easy. But you must fight to get away from the bottom. But again, then one little thing happened. Your laptop break. Oh man, we done. I'm closing the laptop. It's over, man. Lights off. That's lights off. Let me shut it down. Oh, can't cut the light off. Y'all know what I was trying to do. Anyway, get out of that mindset. Get out of it. It is nothing cool about the struggle. It is nothing cool about not being able to, show your kids different. You don't have to live that life to be cool, because that's one thing. That's why people like the struggle, I think, too, because the struggle look cool. Because the struggle give you a sense of pride because you ain't got nothing else. So you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, man, we get it in out here, man. I got in 12 fights a week and this and that." What does it mean? What does it mean? You got scars on your knuckles? That's cool. What does it mean? What your financial situation look like? Are you able to do for yourself? Are you able to do for your kids? What knowledge did you obtain? What knowledge can you pass to your children? We so used to bragging about the struggle. How we bragging about the struggle? We came up, and I'm saying this because I came up embracing it. Oh, I'm from the hood. I'm from this. I cut all that out the window. Because guess what? No matter where you from, if you in freaking LA and you a bum on the side of the road not doing nothing, what you bragging about being from LA for? You just in LA and you a nobody in LA. But I'm from a small town and I'm doing it big. I'm trying to get my name out here. I'm pushing this positive energy. It ain't about where you from. That's why I had to stop worrying about, oh, I'm from here, man. You know this, and maintaining that mentality, because where you from is all a pride thing. And it's somebody else's last name anyway. What I'm screaming I'm from here for, that's somebody's last name. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm getting at. Come on. Let's wake up. Let's do better, because the next generation need us. These kids need us. They need a positive example. They need to learn how to operate around different people, around different cultures. And they get that in school. But a lot of them, we telling them just things that may not be the truth. Things that are in textbooks that we weren't educated on. That's part of the struggle, is passing down false information. Passing down information that's not true. Passing down outdated, medical advice. Passing down so much toxic stuff to our children. And we got so much access to real information. Well, I say real. Let's say good information. Information that you can filter out. And it's all at our hands on these phones. And we plan to use the internet as a joke. It's not a joke. What is going on out here is not a joke. And people sitting playing on social media, you playing, but you don't know how that's going to affect your kids. You know, what we learned in school, that was nowhere near, that was not even education. That wasn't education. You gotta educate yourself. Do you wonder why your liver messed up and you 30 and you know, you hospitalized and like, I'm 30, I'm young. It ain't got nothing to do with your age. It's how you treating your body. Then you passing them bad habits down to the next generation. You don't want your children dealing with that stuff. That all stems from the struggle and keeping that mindset of, this is all we know, we not trying to learn more. Because the struggle is about knowledge as well. You know? And people learn different ways, so you don't always have to open a book. But watch videos. Mind altering videos. Things that make you think. People, they don't like to think. You know? Thinking is tough. But you got a brain. You got to challenge yourself. You know? It's not easy out here nowadays. And that's why you got to think. Man, the struggle. We brag about it. Oh, I'm from Henderson Village. Henderson somebody's last name. Why you bragging about being from somewhere that it was probably a slave owner or something? Come on. We, you know, my hope for people is just to, like I said, I do this to help people think. That's the only reason I'm on here, because I like to help people open their eyes. You know? And not even really open your eyes, because we just see with our eyes. But to visualize with your mind. To visualize being on some nice island where you deserve peace. Where you deserve to get away from the struggle. Where you can think. You know? We all deserve better. But most of us don't work for it. You know, it's a lot that goes into just wanting to get away from a certain lifestyle. But you can do it, you know. I'll be the one to tell you, you can do it. The people that have spoken to me, they'll tell you, I'm one of the biggest supporters of people that want to change their situation, you know. And at one point, you know, my personal struggle was, I had struggles taking my own advice. And when I say that, I mean wanting to become successful and stepping out there. I'm telling people, man, step out there, do this, man, do it, you can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it. And I wasn't doing it. That was my struggle. I'm so focused on, you know, I was at a certain point in my life, and I was content with that. But then I had to, you know, I had to really sit back and observe, and I'm like, man, I'm more than where I'm at. You know, it's more than money. You know, and the one part about the struggle is that we think money solves everything. That's a part of the struggle that we don't get past, is that we think money solves everything. Money is only yours for a moment. And if it's sitting in the bank, you're not doing nothing with it. Your money ain't really doing nothing for you anyway. You just trying to stack. You just scared. You just stacking it just to have it gone. You know? The money's never yours. That's why you got to put it in something that keeps it moving. Learn about money. Learn about the flow of money. Learn to put money in something today that will give you 5 times the value in a year. You know? So many things to learn out here. But we rather be stuck in that hood mentality. Oh, I'm from the projects. Oh, I'm from the projects. This all I know. I've been out here 20 years strong. There's nothing wrong with that. If you make it a part of your story. Just make that a part of your story. But work on leveling up. Work on leveling up. You know? That's why it's called life. Because things are supposed to change. You're supposed to start from a certain level and then move on. And then progress. You know? I always say, and I'm on live, so I'm gonna make sure I give this correct as possible. You know? When you are, let's say, 0 through 13, you are considered a child, you know. 14 to 18, you a young child. Well, yeah. Let's say, anyway, from 18 years old, it's like being born again. 18 years old, you are an adult, but you are a baby as an adult. So you a baby, you just an adult. You don't know nothing at 18. 18, they trick you into going to school, and you think you got it all figured out, but you about to be in a bunch of debt. Or they tell you going to service, you know, which ain't wrong, but you not going to be able to do much with your freedom. You can get your benefits, whatever. There's nothing wrong with the service. I ain't got no, you know, no knock on nobody that do any of this stuff. This is just my perspective. Or you ain't got no plan and you end up being locked up. That's the old way of living. They was telling our parents that it's a new world. Now we got access to this. Now we can spread positive messages. Now we can get on Twitch and game. Video cut. Now we can watch a video in 5 minutes and they give you a whole book in 5 minutes. But you don't want to do that. Then when something happen, oh, the police hit a brother. The police hit a brother. They wrong. We gotta rally up and go do this. You gotta keep that energy. You gotta stay fired up like that at all times. You gotta stay fired up like that at all times. Because that stuff is happening every day. You gotta put out positive energy. That's why I get on this and I do it, because the energy that I'm putting out, I know I'm gonna help somebody with it. You know, I know it. If they listening. So again, you know, it just all go back to, you know, changing your mindset about the struggle. Please stop bragging about it. Please stop bragging about it. It's not nothing to brag about. It's holding you, your children, the people around you down. Stop bragging about working 60 hours a week. Stop bragging about that. You giving your time up for money. Try to make more money using less time. Find a way, create a way. It's not a badge of honor to be struggling, because we deserve better lives. But with changes, we can get that life. You know, it's not far-fetched. Oh, I pulled a double. There's nothing to brag about. You getting chump change. You getting chump change compared to what's being made. And not saying we counting pockets, but you deserve better. That's all I'm saying. Oh, I did 20 hours straight. I only had one lunch. I was bragging about that when I was young. We know it's easier ways to get the money now. You should not have to struggle that bad to make money. But you got to think your way out. Because you need more time with your kids. You need more time at home. You need more time for yourself. You need more time for you. You know? So my rant ain't going to be long. And it's not even a rant. I'm just trying to open eyes up and get people to think. You know? I'm not going to be on here long. About to get off now, actually. So, you know, that's my talk for the day. You can beat the struggle. You don't have to embrace that lifestyle. There's more out there for you. I'm off.